guys, welcome back to my Minecraft world. I've been pretty busy. Been doing a bunch of stuff in between episodes. I did say in the last one, I had a lot of working stuff out to do in terms of like dwarf research and builds and stuff. And unfortunately, that's not what I've been busy with. I've been busy with the stuff that I've shown in the intro. And if you've been in any of my streams the past couple of weeks, you might know I've been really busy doing lore stuff, which has been really exciting. So I've got so much stuff, so much progress I've made doing lore, and we'll hear about some of it in this episode. Just want to talk about what I've done already before we get into today's stuff. Got the roads going through the village now. The main sort of I don't know what's the right word. The main thoroughfare, is that the right term? I don't know. It will continue this way. It does kind of peter out a little bit because I haven't figured out any of this stuff yet. Just going to go over here, but we're all connected. There'll be stuff here, I guess. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. I just really like the idea of there being just this kind of simple straight lines going through the heart of the village. So there's that so far. I've cut down some trees, relocated some bees. That's a bar. Then we've got these trees I've force grown in here. I didn't mean for it to turn out that these two were smaller, but it kind of worked out that way. That's where I've got to so far. Decided to do mangrove leaf blocks for the bushes. I don't know. I feel like maybe I would do azalea instead, typically. But I don't know. I think with all these like dark wood colours over here, this is going to be more present throughout the village. And they're a little bit present. I mean, it's mostly spruce, actually, isn't it? I take that back. It's not as prevalent over here. Yeah, maybe the darker leaf blocks for just the general bushes and stuff. Maybe that's a better option. Although it's not as contrasty with the oak leaves, so maybe I revise that. We'll see. But we've got some these little pockets here of like extra overgrowth, of extra little vegetation, try and make it look older. And some spots where I haven't gone through the whole paths yet, but there's spots here where like it's grown into the path as well. The grass has, I mean, just to make everything look a bit more ancient, because this place would be centuries old. Yeah, I clearly haven't got any further with adding more grass in here. Yeah, I'm happy with how this is going so far. And then I guess also I added these lampposts. I don't know if this is how they're going to be kind of going forward, but I don't know. For the time being, I wanted, I don't know, to light up this bit. It's like the main central part of the village so far, and maybe will continue to be going forward. We shall see. Then, yeah, I've also been over here. This is the first of 3 builds today. Got the bridge built. This is the bridge that goes over to the Elvish kind of. I'm referring to these in my notes as like the ancestral home of these different families. So, and I've even got names for these guys now. This is the Stevenson house. This is the Hanley house, and I don't have a family name. I don't even think I've considered giving any of my elf characters like a surname yet. I don't know. Is that even a thing really with elves typically? But it might be on the fly. I'm thinking of this now. This might end up being lore. It might be that elves belong to different houses. Oh, excuse me. So maybe it would be like such and such elf of house such and such. Sounds a bit Game of Thrones. I don't know. I'll get there eventually. They do have names though, my elf characters already. I just haven't thought about about surnames. Anyway, yeah, we've got the bridge. This is kind of a mashup of I had a small straight bridge like this in my base on Lotus last season. And also, it's somewhat reminiscent of the bridge in my town, slightly. I can't remember in which ways I've borrowed stuff from either, but the tuff is definitely from my base on Lotus last season. Also because I think I wanted it to be a stone bridge of some sort. I didn't want to go deep slate because I thought it was too dark. And I needed to kind of mark it as a different material to the roads. So we went with tuff. I think it looks okay. Maybe it's a slightly too weathered in places, maybe. I don't know. I like it still. And below the surface, it is all like mossy and a bit more weathered under here because of the water. And then here's a little hack. I've got the vanilla tweaks thing. I think I talk about this way too much, but the overhanging moss carpet just adds extra texture and like it softens the transition here between like polished brick and then the tuff. It's like, that's not bad, right? It blends. I really like that. Especially, it's just good. I like it. And then I went in with a few extra like stones and stuff to try and make this look even more ancient. Because not only is this bridge probably really ancient, there's probably like 10 people maybe that would regularly use this. Maybe 5 people. Because there's just so few elves left on the planet, lore-wise. And like 2 or 3 of them live here, so yeah, there's a bridge. I'm happy with this. Oh, and then just to make it look a bit more elvish and magical, based on like my previous elf builds, got the floating candles to light it up instead of these lamppost things, which I think will probably still come up to like right here anyway. Anyway, 2 more builds today. We've got the house. That'll be build 2. First off, I want to introduce you to the characters that founded this elf house in the first place, which means I need to build something up here, just lore-wise, for the sake of them being here in the first place. Something happened up here that they were here for, and then they realised, oh, the man, my render distance. That's better. Wait, will I even be able to see the build from down here? I guess from here I'll be able to see it. Okay, well, anyway, they realized, oh, there's humans down here and stuff settling. Maybe that's where we should also settle. It will all make sense when I get to telling the little backstory for these people. So I'm going to get on with this, and not too big a build. It will be a bit fiddly though, because I've got to do some terrain work. But yeah, we'll do the little backstory while I go into a build time lapse, and then I'll show you the build after. So with each of the groups that founded the village of Bright Hollow, I want to ask a few questions to set up who they were, how they've impacted the village over time. We'll have to circle back around to the humans at some point, but for now, first 2 questions I want to ask with the elves are, who were they and why are they here? Well, the answer is somewhat tied to this ruined tower. The elves in this world have long since departed, but they send back a caretaker for a century or so at a time, whose job it is to travel the world and reapply their magical protections and safeguards, maintaining their structures and settlements, preserving their history, ensuring an elf-like immortality for the mark they left behind on their homeworld. That's what makes this ruined tower so special, that it's ruined in the first place. It's so ancient that the elves who built it didn't have magic sophisticated enough yet to ensure its long-term stability. It makes it sacred to the elves, especially to a particular tiny subset of them referred to as terrestrial elves, who decide to remain here rather than join the rest of their society
either in space or in ascension. That's who part of the group of village founding elves were. Yardirwen, a historian who studied the histories of the humans and dwarves as much as she did the elves, and Nanadir, another historian, and also Yardirwen's brother. They were travelling nearby one day, along with Yardirwen's human partner and their newborn son, Ethelbine. This was a particularly dangerous time in the world's history, when hostile mobs were plentiful and stronger than they ever have been, with zombies even able to walk around during the day without burning. Well, tragedy struck. The group was attacked, chased by a small but unrelenting horde until Edward, Yardirwen's partner, an accomplished and decorated warrior, gave his life fighting back the pursuing zombies, spending all his remaining strength to ensure his family's escape to safety. And so Yardirwen and Nanadir, being scholars, fled with Ethelbine to this place, an ancient, sacred place, a place of comfort after experiencing such horror and loss. They hid here for a short time, distracting themselves, somewhat unsuccessfully, with studying the ruins and their surroundings, until a few days later, when, by chance, with their superior elvish vision, they saw a travelling band of humans and dwarves arrive in the plains nearby, who they immediately decided to join, seeking in that moment, above all else, safety in numbers.
Okay guys, build 2 completed. Quite like this one. I like it quite a lot aesthetically. So ages ago, had this idea of like a tier system for the scale of builds that I would build around the world. One of which being like main settlements, which I guess is what this will end up being down here, and another one was like outposts, where it's just not technically, not literally an outpost, but sort of something bigger than just like a one-off build or like decoration or something. So one of those things, going back ages and ages now on the channel, was like an elf tower. I think I didn't even dedicate an episode to it. I think it was just part of episode 25 maybe in the background. So I had an outpost for elves and one for dwarves, which is still like the only dwarf build that I've done on my world so far. So this is an example of an elf outpost. The example I did before was just like a big tower made of quartz, and in fact we'll go look at it in a sec. But typically there'd be towers up high somewhere, surrounded by trees, and they would be up high above the tree line, partly as like there's emeralds down there. Partly as like a safety thing, like a watchtower, but also to be above the trees, so when they're observing the moon at night, they don't have to look through tree branches and stuff. The sky is open to them. So this is contrary to other elf stuff, right? My lore is there's the elf caretaker who, now that the elves have all gone, they come back and they preserve everything. This is counter to that idea, right? This is because this is such an ancient elf structure that it's before they built stuff with quartz even. It's still white. It's still a white palette, like block palette, but there's none of the purple stuff on the roof. It's all been overgrown. It's so ancient, it's fallen apart. It's still standing, even though part of the support structure's gone. And like at some point there was probably land, like the terrain came up this high, but over time it's eroded. And I even made sure not to kind of cut the trees away. So there's stuff here where like the moss has grown out and the leaves are on top. It's the trees have grown up over this rubble. It's been here so long, right? And the trees like grown around the support over here. So ancient thing, which makes it incredibly special to the elves, right? Yeah, I really, really like how this has come out as well, especially from kind of like a little bit further away. And even, actually, I talked about this on stream the other day. Hello there. Actually, free cam again. The scale of this. It's a similar block palette, right, to my base on Lotus this season. Going from like mossy into the diorite stuff. I feel like it works better on my big sci-fi base on Lotus because I've got my eye on you. I hope you can't get up to me here. It works there because the base is so big. And I'm really worried about this creeper. Hold on. So it really works there because there's a lot of flat open space on the structure, and it's a lot bigger. It's bigger scale. So there's space for the gradient to kind of play out and be a bit smoother. Here, there's a lot of like juxtaposition of grey and white where when the overall color is this kind of, this ends up being quite stark a transition. So I went in with lichen, and I feel like that softens the transition a bit, doesn't it? I've tried to rely on that a bit, and like over here, like some of I feel like it helps sell that transition at this scale. But from far away, I feel like it looks okay. Especially all the green and again, the moss carpet. The moss carpet helps smooth everything over. It's so cool. Have this little vanilla tweaks thing. I wish this was vanilla because I just think it just adds so much to it. Anyway, it's nighttime. I guess I'm on the right building to be observing the moon. But I'm gonna now go sleep, and then I guess we're gonna start on the new build. And yeah, I'm excited for this one. Oh, I do need to go collect my... Ooh, what does this look like with shades on at night? Oh, that's pretty cute, actually. What is that? Oh, that's water, okay. Oh, that's really cute. I like that. Anyway, I need to go grab all the quartz that I brought back from my town. I did have to go do a little excursion all the way back there. But here it is. It's a lot of quartz. But yeah, I'm gonna have a quick nap, make it daytime, and then we'll carry on and build the next build.
Third question I want to ask is, who is still here? Well, in the current day time period, none of the original group, but up until the conclusion of some of the stories I want to tell here, at least Yardewen and Ethelwine still lived here. The elves found the humans and dwarves to be very welcoming, and all became fast and true friends. Nardir stayed for a while, but as the departure of the elves got more and more complete, he decided to join the rest of his people, and left once his nephew was well into his adulthood. Yardewen stays, partly out of a sense of loss for the father of her child, but mostly out of a desire for her son to know and live in both parts of his cultural heritage. Both Yardewen and Ethelwine leave and join spacefaring elves eventually, but that didn't mean the elves left Bright Hollow altogether. Over the centuries, the elf presence in the village grew a little due to something important we'll address in the future, but for now we'll just say there was cause for interested scholarly types to live here and pass on their knowledge. Eventually though, the elves all moved on and joined the rest of their people. However, one still remains, Darthwen, a distant relative of Yardewen, also a historian and a terrestrial elf, who inherited this home. She's very young for an elf, maybe only a couple of centuries old, and still very much in love with the world she's grown up on. Though she's technically a resident, a lot of her time is spent travelling the world, learning her people's history and experiencing the places they used to inhabit firsthand. So she's rarely seen in the village, but she's well known and liked by the other residents. And that's one of the lasting legacies of this place. Aside from the grander history it's better known for, that I hinted at earlier, it's that behind that, there's this unexpected harmony the different cultures have found living here together. As we'll hopefully see in the future, the different architectural features of each culture's homes will intermingle and be mashed together in the other buildings in the village, reflecting the community that was built here to sustain for centuries and outlasting even the immortals who once called it home.
Okay, guys. I forgot to do this before, so we're going to look quickly at the elf town that I made, I don't know, tens and tens of episodes ago, and just to kind of show how far apart my world is. Bright Hollow, our new village, it's nearly 5,000 blocks away. in the nether. So as we hop through. Oh dear. This is not where I'm meant to be. What the hell? This is not the right portal. This is where I... Wait. This is where I came and grabbed a bunch of dirt before. For for building the Perpetual's mountain. Wait a minute. Where am I? Okay. This is slightly troubling. Hold on. Okay, somehow I've gone to the wrong portal. My portals are mislabeled. Okay, here we are. I labeled the wrong thing. Here we go. This is actually the elf town. Okay, so it's not as far, but it's still pretty far. Let me just mark this. Hold on. Okay, it's been a while since we've been here. Dear me. Let me turn off this stuff. Here is the outposts that we talked about earlier. My building chops have improved so much since I built this stuff. But here is kind of the cultural idea of the elf outposts, I guess. It's way up on a hill. Oh, there's a village over there. I forgot about that. Way up on a hill, you can see clearly from miles around. It's great as an outpost, well, it is an outpost. It's great as a watchtower. Let's head up there. Got these like glass pane things to kind of be like magic, I guess, to help you ascend up here. What's in here? Nothing. Wow, I didn't mark this as I didn't like mark the date in here when I made this. Oh well. Yeah. Big telescope. It's meant to look like the spyglass. And I used because you use amethyst. I used amethyst for like the lenses. But then we've got the town. We built the town over here. I really thought I'd spend more time here, honestly. It is quite a ways out of the way from where all my other stuff was. But I really liked this when I made it. I still like it. I would have done some stuff differently now. But yeah, I still really like this place. So if we have a closer look at some of the buildings though, oh man, I had to like figure out how to do the domes and stuff by hand because I didn't have like, well, I could have used like World Edit or Axiom. I don't think was really a thing then, was it? I don't know. What I wanted to draw some attention to is the difference between the new build, not the new build, well, this area and the new build versus the ruined little outpost that we made. This is part of the kind of the era of the elves preserving all their stuff, right, and building stuff with more robust materials, using more magic in the build process, maybe that sort of thing. And so any texturing, any kind of wear and tear, which I guess is what the calcite is meant to represent here, it's really minimal, right? The point of this is that it's preserved, right? So it's minimal wear and tear. It's texturing more than anything. It's not even texturing really, is it? It's just a little bit of wear and tear. Texturing in this instance, I would expect to be like, if I was texturing with the calcite, it would be up here in the corners mostly, because it's got this grey stuff in, so it would work more as like shadows. I just wanted to come back here and show that this new build that I've done, if you're newer to my channel, maybe, it's not out of nowhere that I've just built this big quartz tower thing. There's context for it pre-existing in my world. Oh, I love walking on amethyst. That's so good. This is the elf town and the outpost. So just so we know what we're working with. Okay, let's head back to Bright Hollow. Okay, we're back in the new village. just I was meant to do this when I was out in the old elf town. Here's where we are now. That's pretty cool, right? This all looks pretty cool. Got the new build. I was about to say old build. That's also a new build, I guess, but there's the crumbling old tower. So here's where we are now. Here. Here we go. There's the old elf town that we built. And just for context, here is world spawn. There's the spawn egg tower thing, spawn egg temple. Here's that chunk that I mined. Here is Verdigby. Oh, that's the starter village. Lumberyard. I guess this counts as one of the human outposts, I guess. Here's the bridge, here's the road that follows down. Here's my little portal to the Lotus SMP. If you ever saw my first episode of last season. And then here's the town that we've been working on. Here's, I don't know if I'm going to call it Stefborough or Steveborough. But it's, yeah, there we go. Named after the Stevensons who founded the place. So that's where we're at. And then if we really, really want to find some stuff, here's the Perpetuals HQ base hidden in the mountain. Yeah, we're concerned with this right now. So I wanted to do it like this so that we can walk through that central bit in the village. And this is something that I haven't talked about for a while, I guess, but it's something I would always do, particularly in every settlement that I've built. I talked a lot about this in last season of Lotus when I was building the village. The views as you walk around the place, right? Because that's the whole thing that I'm doing with this world is I'm building the world that I want to play in. So it all matters about what does it feel like when I'm walking around. So here we go. Now, this is obviously a lot more open than it's going to end up being at some point because we're going to have buildings flanking the roads probably. We're going to have roads offshooting everywhere else. But as we walk down this road, I would really like to keep a view of this as much as I can. That's so cool. Off in the background. And then this coming, like, I've also got my fog settings such as they are. The way the build kind of comes into focus as you get closer to it. Like here it's pretty washed out, right? And then as you get closer, all the colors get a bit more vibrant. Ah, so cool. I'm not convinced with this, to be honest. I really, really like what I did with this. This was a big challenge and I had to redo a bunch of stuff, particularly the roof, to get it to a point where I was happy with it. This, I'm so practiced at doing this style of build. The roofs gave me a lot of trouble, but I can do this in my sleep almost. This, how long has it been since I built that town? It's been years, maybe. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure about this bit specifically. Maybe I shouldn't have made it like fatter at the bottom. Now that I've gone back and like seeing it juxtaposed against the old town, maybe it should have just been straight all the way down rather than kind of burrowing out like this. Oh, and I've added even more candles when I linked up the roads here and did a little bit of terraforming. Let me have a quick sleep and then we'll have a closer look. So, as we approach, much like those other elf buildings, there's no doors. No doors at all, quite open plan. Now, can anyone notice the problem as I walk around this place? Can anyone notice the problem that I didn't realize until getting all the materials together to actually build this thing? Can anyone notice the problem with this build? Well, I can't hear your response, but I'm going to assume that you two have also noticed there's no access to the upper levels in this tower. What was I thinking? How have I done this? Like, I'm sure I probably put this little bit of structure on the back here in order for it to be the stairway up. But it didn't occur to me. Because I'm building it in creative, flying around, and yeah, there's no way up there. So if we just fly up, that's the way to do it, right? I guess. It's nice, right? I think it's nice. I feel like this sort of stuff has wound up in my museum in my town. So I guess that's like a nice link, right? Accidental, and it's only occurred to me while looking at it that I feel like this sort of pattern, this sort of decorative thing, kind of happens in the roof, like in the ceiling of my museum. I've managed to sneak in some shelves. I love the shelves. And then, yeah, we've ever present in the elf towers. We've got the we've got the representation of a geode, because that's like their important cultural symbol. So that's always represented somewhere. Same in the ceiling, right? Got the dark bit, the white bit, and the purple bit in the middle. And then let's quickly fly up there. I haven't figured out yet how cherry trees figure into the elf stuff, but it was a featured thing. I don't know if I showed it actually on purpose, but flying around the elf town, there would have been some prominent cherry trees there. And yeah, then we've got the geode in the ceiling as well, kind of. It was very open plan. I didn't want to do one of those telescopes up here because I feel like I don't like the way it looks. Maybe I could do an armor stand thing. Maybe I need to find a better way to build one. But there would be a telescope up here. And yeah, as with the other like founding buildings so far, there's towers. I mean, I think I said was going to have been an addition later on, but this would probably been built on there. The towers like this are a thing borrowed from elf architecture. I don't know what I got into with the lore stuff, so I'll leave it there. Oh, I snuck in some white concrete powder. Having kind of a lot more experience now, if you've been watching my Lotus season this season, I've got a lot more experience with white texturing on buildings like this. So I feel like that's nice, right? And then actually the other tower, I've got these streaky bits with the pale oak logs. I think that looks quite nice. Like from far away, everything up close looks terrible, right? If I go up close, it's like, it just looks patchy and weird. But if you're far enough away, you can't really see the texture of the individual blocks as well, but you see the color tone or whatever. It's like this looks quite I don't know, clean. It looks cleaner maybe, but then this looks a bit more kind of I don't know, like there's water that's just dripped down here all this time, like for however many centuries this place has been around. I don't know, maybe it's just me. And then like some of this looks like shadows and stuff as well in the corners, helped by the actual shadows cast on it. I feel like it all blends together nicely. Yeah, that's 3 of the 4 kind of what I've been calling the ancestral homes of the families that founded this place. We've got 1 more to go. And honestly, don't know what I'm doing yet still. The time where I was like, keep the 2-week gap between videos because I need to do the research. I ended up doing other lore stuff because I got so excited about it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to go over here somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I even... Because... Right. Thinking again on the fly. Right. Trying to come up with this stuff. The dwarves that are here, they already are out on the surface. For reasons I will get into. I have them worked out. But we'll save that for a future video. Well, next video, probably. If we're going to have dwarves out living on the surface with humans and elves, and still maintaining their dwarf identity, but part of this village, if we're going to have that, and we're going to have dwarven kind of aesthetic, like we're going to have elf aesthetic and human aesthetic bleed into the other buildings in the village, maybe I build some sort of dwarf surface structure. That's not something I've considered until just now. Man, my draw distance is terrible, right? Is that a bit better? That's a bit better. Ooh, ding. Yeah, maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe it ends up being like a show of trust and solidarity that the dwarves that decide to settle here don't burrow underground and instead live on the surface with their new friends. That seems like a nice resolution to my problem, right? Because I've been struggling. Like, how do I represent the dwarf thing on the surface, and then how do I bring that into the village going forward? I was thinking of building into this hillside here, and then stuff just the couple of attempts I made so far ended up kind of like stone hobbit holes, which just were all a bit too angular and a bit crap, to be honest. So hence my need to do research. I need to do even more research now, because I have not once considered let me rephrase this. I was about to say I've not considered surface structures for the dwarves. I've not considered surface structures for the dwarves in this era that this all took place. So yeah, I've got to rethink this then. That's exciting. I've got a direction to go now. That's really cool. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it. Let's do one little it's all coming together. Well, it's not all coming together, is it? It's all sparse and and like spread out. But we've got some hinting at infrastructure. All the paths now. We've got this bit, which I quite like this. I might redo the trees on the other side. They're a bit shorter. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about the builds. I'm excited about the stories. Oh, and let me know as well. I've just done, I guess, oh, that's kind of a cool shot. Let's see if my PC can handle full render distance. There we go. It's a little better. In fact, let's really push it. See if we've got any. Oh, look at this. There we go. Right. I was going to say, please also let me know. Is this a better format? Doing the lore stuff, kind of voiceover over the build time lapses? Is that a better way to do it? Or would you prefer that I do it in like the walkthrough and walk around and talk about stuff? Oh, look at this view, man. It's such a cool view. Let's go here where there's no things in the way. That's so cool. That's such a cool view. With all the water over here. Towers in the distance. Yeah. Is this a better way to do it, basically? Please let me know. Right. One last look. Hold on. My PC is definitely chugging. Let's drop this back down to where I usually leave it. I want to get close and see what the candles look like at night. going up the staircase. It's pretty cool. I'm happy with this. I'm really like this sort of magical stuff going on here. Okay, that looks like Enderman. I'm going to fly back to my house. Give me a second. We'll sign off properly in a sec. I think a squid just drowned itself on land. Oh yeah, there's ink. Oh, that's really sad. Okay, so anyway, if this is interesting to you, this sort of all the lore stuff, nerding out about like the stories we can do here and all that sort of thing, if that's appealing to you, or someone you know might be interested, please consider maybe sharing this with them, because I'm really trying to grow the channel and kind of do more of this stuff. Yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it for this one. If you wouldn't mind helping me out, maybe you could hit like on the video. And if you want to follow what I'm doing here or keep up with what I'm doing on Lotus, maybe you could hit subscribe as well. But yeah, that's it from me this time, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.